Hello everyone and welcome to day 19 of my Christmas card series. Today I've got these two cute cards here. I got these images off of a internet website called Design Bundles. They're images that you can use with your Cricut. I'll have the links to everything, every website that I got everything from. So if you have a Cricut, you can utilize this. So what I did was I just cut out those two mittens using my Cricut and some Neenah paper, and then I just traced the back pieces out and cut them out with my scissors using some Says Schoolhouse Red and Evergreen cardstock. And here I've got two panels of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And all I wanted to do was just add a little bit of something to the background, so it wasn't just plain craft. I mean, it is a snowy card. There are mittens, so we would expect to have some snow. So that's what I wanted here. I wasn't too concerned about how the actual snow looked because the majority of it is going to be covered up by these mittens. So I just went along and splattered. Again, I didn't care how they looked. Most of them were going to be covered up. I just wanted to get something done in the background. So back to the mittens. The designs, like I said, I got those off of a website called Design Bundles, and again, I'll have the links for that below. If you have a Cricut, you can utilize this. Now, I understand not everybody has a Cricut, and not everybody can create these sorts of images, but I did mention at the beginning of my series that I wanted to try using my Cricut on some things. I'm hoping that maybe a company might come out with a die set that looks like this because I think these are super sweet. You could do a lot with these little mittens, especially this little pattern. So you could use any die cut you want for this. If you've got something that's got a lot of pattern to it, or you can hand cut some mittens and paint on some designs. I believe I saw Christina Warner do something similar to that a couple years ago. She painted her own mittens. So now that those panels are all splattered with the snow, I've set them off to the side to dry, and I'm just going to get these mittens glued to their backer pieces. I'm just going to be using some Tombow Mono multi-glue to glue these together, and I just freehand cut the colored pieces. And I mean, I'm sure the Cricut could cut it out, but I just decided to hand cut it. It was just as easy and quick. And then I'll set those off to the side once I get them all glued down and I can work on the sentiment. Got that red one all glued down, and I really like the pop of red behind this pattern. This pattern was super sweet. And the same with the green. I really liked it as well. Very traditional red and green. I had thought about doing both of the mittens on the cards, but if I had shrunk them down any, the design didn't come through as well. The Cricut does a really wonderful job cutting out intricate designs like this one, but whenever you start to kind of make them smaller and smaller and smaller, it has it still cuts them great, but the paper doesn't hold up as well as it would if it was a larger image. So now that those are glued down and off to the side to dry, I can start on my sentiment. So at first I thought I wanted to use this Big Scripty Words Winter die or stamp and die set from Lawn Fawn. And I got these all stamped out and embossed and cut out. And when I put them against the cards here, I just didn't like it. I didn't like how they kind of got lost in amongst all that pattern. And I didn't really want to cover up the mittens. The mittens were the main focus of this card. So in the end, I decided I wanted to go with something that was a little bit more simple for the sentiment. And I left all this in here just because I liked you guys to see my thought process behind everything. Not everything comes as smoothly as you might think for everyone else. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody changes their mind. And I wanted just to share that with you guys here, that what my thought process is whenever I'm creating something. It changes all the time. I change my mind more than you might think. And I really like this die set and stamp set. They're really cute. So I got those stamped images all ready to go, ran them through my die cutting machine, and I really like these cute sentiments. They're super sweet on the card, just something nice to add, but they just didn't fit with the card today. So I set those pieces off to the side, and I have them there if I want to use them on another card. I just hit these panels with the heat gun again, just to kind of speed up the process a little bit. I wouldn't say I was in too big of a hurry, but I was a little bit. And then I took my MFT A2 Stitch Stax dies and cut both of these panels out. So I had a nice white border around my card, and I had that nice stitching detail. I got both of those panels cut out, and I started kind of laying out the design, what I was going with, and then this is where I decided I just didn't like the sentiments. I felt like they got lost in amongst all that pattern, and they didn't really pop off the page. So I decided to glue down my mittens exactly where I wanted them, so I knew that they wouldn't shift, and I got them where I wanted. And I just trimmed off the excess with my scissors. Once I got all that trimmed off, this is where I decided to change up my sentiment. I wanted to go with just a small strip of sentiment, just something really simple, something, that's not going to take away from the mitten. So I decided to break out my Simon's Tiny Words Christmas sentiments, and there was two really good ones in there, warm wishes and warm holiday greetings. I really thought they were appropriate for this with the mittens and, keeping warm. So, and I just stamped those on some black licorice cardstock with my VersaFine and used the same Brutus Monroe embossing powder for this. I held on to that little tiny strip with my scissors just to make sure I didn't burn my fingers. And then I just hand trimmed the little strips down to fit on the cards. In the end, I really liked how this turned out. I thought it was a better fit than those larger sentiments. Just enough on the card to, say the greeting and not take away from the mittens, because we're going to jazz up these mittens. I'm going to add some embellishments, some sparkle, just to kind of set them off the page. And I'm just using the same Tombow glue to glue these down. I didn't want to add too much dimension to these because I'm going to add lots of sparkle and dimension with the embellishments. So I'm just using some Nouveau Crystal Drops in Simply White, Autumn Red, and Green. And I'm just kind of alternate the colors. I'm going to use green on red and the red on the green, and I'm going to use white on both. I didn't really have a plan in my head for this. I just kind of went with what I liked, what I thought would look nice. And in the end, I really liked how they turned out. They really started to shimmer and shine, and I also decided to add some glossy accents in the little chevron pieces. Like I said, I liked how these turned out. Adding this bit of dimension and sparkle to them really made them kind of set off the page a little bit, so they weren't just so flat. This part took a little while just to make sure I got the detail covered, so I sped this part of the video up. Used, like I said, the glossy accents in the little chevron pieces, utilizing a needle to make sure I spread out that material within the little chevrons. And then I took my Wink of Stella glitter brush pen and added shimmer to the little stripes and the little hearts. And I did the same process on the green card. I just added a little bit more to it. I kind of added a bit more red and a bit more white in the little dotted pattern at the top. And did the same process, glossy accents in the chevrons and the Nouveau Crystal Drops in the dots. And again, you could easily use any colors that you want. I just went with the traditional red and green, added some sparkle to the sentiments, and then I decided I want to add just a tiny bit more sparkle to these and just a tiny bit more dimension. After I figured out that I forgot to put these on actual card bases before I put the Nouveau drops on, so I very carefully added some Tombow glue behind them and very gently pressed around the edges where I didn't have those Nouveau drops because I didn't want to smear them. So I got those attached to my top folding card bases, and this is where I decided to add some pretty pink Posh holiday gems. And I just added some green gems to the remaining dots on the mittens and some scattered around the outside. And that finishes up my card for today. I want to thank you guys for coming by. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos in this series. We're already on day 19. We're winding down, so I really hope you stick around for what I've got planned for the rest of this series. I'm super excited to show you what I have. I've got lots of really cute ones coming up, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye!